Fuzz Club, episode 30. Today we're talking about my ex. Huh? Anybody?
Take my wife, please.
Just kidding. Just kidding. We're talking about Whores, the band, and their album Gold. It came out in 2016. They are an Atlanta band, and best described as like a combination of noise, punk, sludge, lots of different stuff. So, whose first introduction to Whores was this episode? Anybody? Yeah, I thought that there was a couple people we were talking about them prior. So, what did you think? First impression of a band? Oh, sorry, never mind. Let's do some quick introductions. We didn't do that, did we? I said we were going to do it, and then we didn't do it. My bad.
What
Daniel,
up? I'm Dan.
Yeah, Daniel, you want to lead us off?
Heavy Cat. I'm Dan from Heavy Cat in Los Angeles. What's up? The album was rad.
Thanks for joining us, Daniel.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Bucky.
Hey, Bucky. I'm here in Denver. I'm with Doom Charts. Just a fan. Ripple Music, Ripple Effect. So, been around a while. Excited to talk about this one.
Yeah, Blake Carrera from Aiwass.
Ben Riz from Lost Dutchman and Southern Gate.
I'm Eddy from the Endless, Lords of the Opium Church, and Aiwass.
And Aawks.
I'm Kris. I am the Aawk today because Randy is going to be doing some work shit. And I'm also in Novidal currently. And yeah, how's it going, everybody?
Right on. So we'll see how much of that I can edit around after I butchered the intro to this episode. But anyway, first impression of the band Whores from some newcomers. Daniel, you said this was your first introduction to them.
Yeah. The album was great. Guitar tones were great. Like I said before, I like a rock and roll album with no official double bass in it. The gallops were sick. I think I caught a Pink Floyd reference in there too. In of course you do. There's a Run Rabbit Run reference, so that was kind of a cool little heady Easter egg. But yeah, overall, I think the slower songs are the radder ones. What was the last one? The Charlie Chaplin Routine is a good song, and then I've Prepared a Statement is probably my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, I've heard that from a few people. Yeah. So, any other thoughts on this band? For my first introduction to them was actually when I was in Texas. I went to go see Red Fang, and I didn't know Whores at all, but they opened for them. And even at the show, I was like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!" It was just like aggressive and just kind of like brutal, but with a purpose. It was like noise with a purpose. It was like catchy still somehow when you just feel like this wall of like aggression and anger, but it was like organized in a like kind of a catchy little package or something like that. So I remember like going to that concert and seeing Red Fang, going for Red Fang, but leaving going like, I gotta check out that band, and been a fan ever since. And this album in particular, we can talk about some of that stuff in a little while, but they have some other albums and have put out newer singles and stuff, but I don't think anything quite compares to this album. I think this is their best work. It's so solid all the way through.
Yeah, for me, they're kind of an interesting mixture of the Melvins and the other band they remind me of kind of is Floor.
I don't think I know Floor.
Floor later, some of the members of Floor later formed Torch.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of they're sludgy riffs played with a punk mentality.
Mm-hmm.
If you slow this down to 65 BPM, it sounds like a Doom record. If you speed it up a little bit more, it sounds like early Black Flag. And if you slow it down just like a hair, it's pure, sludge in terms of the riffs. Not New Orleans.
I'd like to add that it sounds a bit like Lightning Bolt at times too.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Daniel mentioned he liked the slower songs best, but I would argue there is no slower songs. This is all pretty aggressive, upbeat. I mean, I know what you're talking about. Like the last track in particular, that was my favorite as well.
Right.
But yeah, like in the Red Fang reference, these guys are a great pairing to Red Fang. It's when the album finished on Spotify for me, it auto plays like a playlist, and Red Fang was the next track. And then I listened to a couple other albums, and the same thing. When it ended, Red Fang kicked off. So it's like the algorithm knows that distinguish between these guys' sound. Maybe it's because they toured with them or something, but
yeah,
you like
it's partially the vocal approach.
Yeah,
like I think the vocal approach is a big part of that. It's that kind of like I've never really understood how to sustainably do vocals like this that are almost they literally just sound like pushing yelling to like just the next level before screaming.
It's like a bellow. I'd say it's a bellow.
He's aggressively telling you what he needs to say.
Yeah, very aggressively. It takes you into this very old school vibe. I feel like this band does not sound like something that you'd expect, in the last few years. This to me sounds very like early to mid 90s underground college radio type of thing.
Definite. You mentioned Black
Flag. This was the first listen for me.
I heard few songs that reminded me of Henry Rollins and Rollins Band, like Black Flag type stuff in a weird way. Like this sounds like Rollins Band or something. Like the tone of the vocals are off that. Like
maybe that's why I like Horse so much, is because it does sound like Rollins Band.
But yeah, okay.
I'm not even that big of a fan of Rollins Band, but I love this record in particular.
It's that era, that 90s.
Yeah, this is my first time hearing this band, like digging into them fully. Like my friend introduced me to them a couple of years ago because of their bass tone is so gnarly, and he was like, "Man, you got to check this out. They got their own pedal. They make their own pedal with idiot box effects. It's like the Horus fuzz pedal or something like that." And I'm assuming that's on that album, either for the guitar or the bass, and just the guitar tones was wicked, man.
I think you can hear it a lot more on the bass.
Yeah, the bass is really distinct.
Gear guys, you know anything about that fuzz pedal?
Oh yeah,
I know the Idiot Box is awesome.
I've played through one. I had the benefit of having the Idiot Box pedal board in front of me at one time. That Horse pedal rules. It sounds good on guitar. It sounds good on bass. It sounds good on everything. You could plug a keyboard into it. It probably roll.
Nice. I might have to get one.
Yeah. Or an organ. That would sound cool.
Right?
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think this album was really an interesting experience for me because I've heard this album probably 10 times before. I got really into it a few years ago, 2 years ago, maybe. And for me, it's just kind of a trip because it's a fast experience, not just in terms of the speed at which they're playing, but this album doesn't feel very long to me. I don't know whether it isn't or whether it just kind of flies by because it's, so catchy. But, I'm used to a little more expansiveness, I guess I'd say, in the music that I listen to. And this is so concise and distilled that it makes it a very pure listening experience.
Yeah, definitely. I even have, of course you do, on the Slightly Fuzzed playlist on Spotify from like years ago.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fit like any of that other music really at all, but I just loved it so much that I put it on there. And like, there's something so raw about it and so simple that I've put it on so many times over the years and just been like, I don't normally listen to music even that I would consider really like this. I mean, I guess we talked about Red Fang and stuff, but I don't know that I listen to a lot of bands that are really like this, but there's something about this band and this record that like it's so pure and so raw that it's like there's something about it that you're just like, that abrasiveness feels good here. I don't like it over there and that band or that album, but like this one here, it's just like, it's perfect to me.
Well, and there's also technically one of the things that I think really emphasizes that rawness and is also just fucking impressive is their control of feedback and how they manipulate that. Like, to, it, you know, if you don't generally use feedback as a musician, you might not appreciate how difficult it is to conjure those sounds and control them in the way that they do. It's
A lot of
it's a master class.
Yeah, a lot of pinch harmonics and definitely there was this end at the very last song, the end of the very last song. It kind of spaces out into like this, you know, echoey thing, and I'm like, wow, you know, maybe I'd love to hear like more of that, like more expansive soundscapes. You know, in between each of these songs could be pumped up like 3 or 4 minutes, I think, and you know, really doomed out, I think. But yeah.
I feel like some of their other stuff, they had an album before this called Clean and a couple other things. And like I said, they have a single out in 2022 called Imposter Syndrome, where I felt like they maybe tried to expand that sound a little bit. And I didn't care for it quite as much. I mean, it's still horrors and, you know, there's still a lot to like there, but there's something about this album in particular that, like, they just hit the nail right on the head. It's so, like, pinpoint accurate. It's just, it's exactly what it is. They're 2-minute songs. It's abrasive. They don't really try to do anything else. It's like, this is the sweet spot for them, for me. And their stuff before it and the stuff after it so far is like, it's good. It's not quite this one, though.
This is not an album that you go to for dynamics, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, you're not going to see a bunch of, like, layered, you know, it's not going to feel like a composition or like it has movements or whatever. It's just a fucking punch straight to the face.
Yeah. It does that Orange Goblin thing where it's just to the point and it doesn't muck around.
Yeah.
When I had the feeling like I was in the middle of a spin cycle in a washing machine or something at points, or in a dryer maybe. It's just like chaos and like intensity in a great way.
I downloaded.
Yeah, I was a big fan of.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I was leading up to this podcast when we first decided on horrors. In my head, I thought we were going with Ruiner. When I think of horrors, that's what pops in my head. That's that Revolver on the cover from 2011. Oh, really? It's like a 5-song EP, and that was what I was in my head this whole time. And to me, like that one is that might be my favorite horse piece.
Really?
But,
yeah. So why do you think that is?
It's like it just kicks off like it's super. It's a lot more doomy. It feels like, but this album is definitely more complete as an album. I mean, it's got a full 10 songs, and the other one, Ruiner, just is over too fast. It's like, that's it. I want more. I want like double that. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I was like, in my head picturing Ruiner, and I forgot that the gold is the gold trash can cover. Kind of.
See that. This is gonna sound absolutely fucking bonkers coming from me, but I love how this album is not doomy. You know, it's just pure fucking aggression.
Yeah,
you know?
It is. It's just all aggression. And every time I listen to it, I always go like, well, I guess this is kind of punk. And then I go, no, not really though. And then I go, well, it's kind of like stoner. No, it's not that either. But it's just like, it's just aggression. That's just all it is. It's just like whatever aggression would sound like on record.
Yeah, it's
screaming you on bathtub meth.
Yeah.
It's I you know, but the aggression isn't annoying, you know? Like it doesn't wear at you where you're like, I get it, you're fucking angry. You know, it feels right. It feels well placed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the part that I'm trying to like put to words and trying to figure out like how they do it or something. Is like that angriness, the just like screaming for the whole album, these short songs. Like I don't know that I would normally necessarily be into that, but there's something about the way they do it that is just like it just takes whatever that feeling is and they nail it. You know, I don't know. I was going to say I downloaded a video of their song "I See You Are Also Wearing a Black T-Shirt," and you can kind of see like just how like aggressive they are even in the playing and stuff, just like that energy from them. So it's short. It's like 2.5 minutes, I think, or something. If you guys want to check that out, we can watch this video together and hear this song. I think it's just such a good like way to see and hear what we're kind of talking about. Jesus Christ. I just fucking love that shit, man. It's just so fucking aggressive, so angry. I love it.
So two things that I noticed were, one, it's the opposite in every way of the Monolord Empress Rising video, but it also kind of reminded me of that at the same time. And second, I just noticed that I think part of how they achieve their sound is double recording all the vocals. I might be wrong on that, but it was just something I was noticing when we were listening to that. So
the vocals definitely have a unique sound, like not just yelling the entire time, but like there is a sound to it that.
Yeah, because it's like with doing extreme vocals, you know, like if you record one take and then you record it again, it's necessarily you can't possibly ever reproduce perfectly that type of frequency, and so it kind of gives it this duality, multiplicity.
Also, what kind of speech timbre does the vocalist have when he speaks? That also has some bearing on it too. I mean, you know, how you speak, your speaking voice is a reflection on your singing voice.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you might have a crazy voice like Kirk from Crowbar or something.
Yeah.
I would say he's yelling in tune as well. Like he's yelling melodies. I don't know if you guys can hear me okay, but he's as much as it's kind of sounds without melody, there is something there, and I think that is kind of what makes it have a bit of a catchiness to it.
Yeah, that's kind of the magic of that band. Is like if I played this for someone that doesn't listen to this type of music, they'd be like, Jesus Christ, this is noise. This is like literally the definition of just noise metal, music, like just noise. And there's something about the way they do it that is not noise at all. It's like perfectly like orchestrated to where there's a catchiness to it, and there's like they all know exactly what they're doing. It's not just noise at all.
The
totally road trip to that album.
I don't know if you guys know Mets from Toronto. I'm hearing like some Mets, just pure, like totally saturated. And the double vocals. Now that I'm thinking of it, it sounds. I agree with that. But just they're described as a noise band, but they're real punctual in this album. Punctual and catchy. But they still have those elements that they've very much deliberately put into certain places, which I appreciate from a compositional level.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoy their kind of like sense of humor too. Just the name of the song was like, I see you're also wearing a black t-shirt, which I just thought was funny. But even listening again through that video, just being like, let's talk about the weather and stuff like that, something benign. Like I just find really, they have like this kind of sense of humor about this too, with all this like anger and aggression. There's like this kind of like little cheekiness to it.
See, my problem with that was it reminded me too much of the bullshit that was popular when I was in high school, like Fall Out Boy, that had those long ass random titles.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. And
it's like that was one of the things I pull up. I remember the first time I pull up this Horrors album, I look at it and I was like, no, I'm not gonna listen to this.
Well, that's funny.
Just because the song titles, I was like, no,
yeah,
I'm out.
I like that, like just kind of like sense of humor. I mean, we talked about it on like the Queens of the Stone Age episode a little bit, just kind of like the way he names songs and some of the lyrics he writes and stuff. And like,
well, I do know you have a lot of Fall Out Boy shirts in your closet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about though. Like that emo era of music that like these nonsense song titles that you're like, what does this have to do with the song at all? And they're like a sentence or two long. But
yeah, it's like the fact that Fall Out Boy song titles it's revealing.
I didn't name one. I just remember that all those fucking bands had the same fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to like it though.
I think kind of like the sense of humor for sure.
Yeah.
And the groove.
What were the other one? There was like Charlie Chaplin routine or something too. There's a few other song titles that I thought were pretty good. But.
Yeah.
Could have sworn I saw one that was in there about a name tag or some shit.
On this
was my first listen on. Yeah, this is my first listen to Horrors ever. Was this album? I mean, literally, I caught the email and I'm like, oh shit, I'm on the podcast today. So I quickly listened to it, and I got to say, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of different opinions about what I was hearing. Yeah. Most of which a lot of you guys had already married, but yeah. So it sounded like a lot of things. I didn't think really a whole lot of pop punk so much, but that last song that we all listened to kind of did have a little bit of those elements to it, but in a good way, like a mature way. Like, hey, we're grown ass men. We're not really here for the money. We're more in it because it's fun.
They do look like they're having a lot of fun. I'm jealous. It looks like a fun band to be in.
Yeah, that looks like a band that you could totally trash a room to, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine the pit at their shows.
Band. Right? Yeah.
Just by watching that video, just to get in the mood to play guitar like right away. Just get your blood going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also really hard to do. Is just to fucking run around and be slinging your guitar everywhere. Like that takes some cardio and two just being able to continue to play your guitar while you're swinging it around. Like that's not really something I'm great at.
Maybe that's why we haven't heard much from them in the last few years.
Yeah, they're like, we're too old for this. My back hurts.
Yeah,
they got trained to go on tour.
No one likes a worn-out old whore, you know.
Well, someone's in the mood for it, but you know.
All right, what else about this this album in particular? Anything that they could have done better? Anything you would have liked to have seen them do based on, you know, previous albums or future work or any other bands or anything?
I hate the cover.
Really? I kind of like the cover. They're very consistent with their cover. It's they always have
it's
the
like a real or fuzzed cover.
They always have the very bold whores at the top, and then like a
I like that
item. I like how consistent all their albums are.
I in visiting like their Instagram and whatever, checking out different stuff, you know, it seems like a lot of their songs are missions for. They're trying to make a statement for a lot of these songs, and if you listen to lyrics, there's a point to all of these. And I'm sure when they made the album cover, they thought this is going to have all this abstract meaning to it, and it represents something. But I like non-linear album covers I like album covers that don't match the music necessarily. Yeah.
Well, if you look at some of the song titles, I was like wondering if they connected it to gold somehow. Like Participation Trophy is gold. Like Baby Teeth will eventually have gold grills in them. Gold Trash, Ghost Trash. I don't know. Came to mind when I was thinking about the cover. What's going on here?
It's hard to say what exactly is going on there, but I like the consistency in their album covers.
I think it's
if I was great diving, I'd buy this purely off the cover.
I mean, it just says whores across the top, and there's a garbage can. Like the rest of their albums are great and everything, but like this one is just to me, it's a classic. It says whores, garbage can, love it.
There's something about the period after the name that immediately makes me like them more. I don't know why, but
it's a statement.
Yeah, just like whores.
I don't know that much about these guys. Does anyone know anything about them as a band? I read that they're from Atlanta, but that's really about it. It seems like they're not super like public facing. I don't know much about them.
I would have placed them in like the Pacific Northwest if I didn't know.
I would have for like some reason. I guess maybe that's like
they kind of have a
I thought maybe that was like the Red Fang connection, because Red Fang's from like Portland, right? I thought maybe.
And the band Sandrider is very familiar too in the style, like the very aggressive kind of punky stoner metal.
Yeah.
So they're from Seattle too.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by the Atlanta thing.
It's too hot in Atlanta to be this angry.
I know, it's a little angry for that like southern metal. I don't know.
Well, the heat does make you very angry. Yeah. Yeah, you'll get angry when you live in a southern state in the summer. Don't worry.
Yeah, Atlanta's too humid though. I don't want to jump around and scream when it's like that. Fuck.
Well, you have to jump around to get the sweat off of your face.
All right. Any other thoughts about horrors?
I usually don't go south of the Mason-Dixon.
Food's better here.
I would agree.
Debatable.
I'm curious. What bands would you, if like people who listen to this episode that like check out horrors and they're like, okay, I dig this. What other band would you recommend to someone who likes horrors? You know, like I'd be like, I guess Melvins and most of punk rock.
There's a band called Bison BC. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of them. They were called Bison, but I think because there wasn't a bunch of other Bisons, they're not the same, but they have the same vibe and energy.
I can hear that, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm a big fan.
Have you guys heard of the band American Sharks? I don't even think they're still active.
Yeah.
But they
I've seen them before.
Them. And then, the Red Fang Sandriders, an easy one to kind of throw that way.
What about
Red Eater?
Red Fang makes sense.
What about like Cancer Bats? A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a local band here in Edmonton called
they're
they're like a hardcore band that reminds me of this band a little bit. I'll show you.
Hardcore. They have a lot more Sabbath influence, and less punk. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a
heard some
hardcore
Bill
influence
Ward
in this.
for sure.
What was that, Daniel?
I definitely heard some Bill Ward influences in the drumming. You know, again without the double bass. You know, definitely that gallop. It's unmistakable. I mean, you know, I've ripped it off of Bill Ward. Everybody has, you know, but it's classic. It's classic.
All right. Anything else about him?
Are they like putting anything out new?
Well, the last
up?
I think the last thing they put out was 2022, and it was just a single. But
They toured last year.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I was supposed to go see them, and then I got sick. But yeah, they did like a nationwide tour last year.
So they're still active.
Yeah, they're still going. I just think that my guess, just like a lot of these bands, like, you know, when Ryan and Pat went on Cave Dweller, they were talking about like how a lot of these, you know, like the stoner bands, it's like, all right, I've got a day job so that I can afford to do this. I think it might very well be the same type of thing with them.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of older punks that are trying to just still have fun. And it's not easy to go on tour all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, could be.
Or release music.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Or
they
buy
did like
food.
a cover or two, maybe around that same time as their single. I don't remember who they did, but I thought it was like a cover of a couple songs.
It was Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim.
Is that what it was?
No.
Oh. I was like, that would be insane. I'm gonna put
I
that
don't
on.
feel
Right
bad
now.
for dry heaving right now. Then, ugh.
Love that song.
Yeah, of course. It's a classic. Oh,
Information. Listen to the fucking album.
They did Have a Drink on Me in 2021. They had a single called Flag Day in 2017. I'm not sure what that is. And then Imposter Syndrome in 2022. That's about it. All right. So I think we all liked it. It's very unique. They're kind of their own thing. Combination of lots of stuff. It's a good album. Hope to hear more. Any other final
It's nice to
thoughts
change it
on
up.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like I don't know that horrors really falls into a lot of the stuff that we talk about, doom or stoner, but like we mentioned Melvins and we mentioned Bill Ward and we mentioned punk and hardcore, and like it's a combination of all those kind of things that brings them here, and why to me horrors is a kind of a band that anyone could like, whether you're into punk or doom or metal or whatever. It's one of those bands that's kind of got this universal thing to it. But what's also very funny about that is they're so fucking abrasive that if I played it for anyone that wasn't already into this type of music, they'd be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But my one contention with that, though, is that I really do think, I mean, these are just pop songs. They're pop songs.
It takes a while
guy...
to hear that, though, I think. I think on first listen, you go, this guy is just fucking yelling, and they're just banging. This is like noise. After you listen a couple times, I think that you hear that. I think that then after a while, you go, oh, this is catchy. I like that song. I heard, this chorus. You like, I don't know. If I played this for like a girlfriend, they'd be like, what in the fuck?
Yeah, well,
Or
get better taste.
Yeah. Get better taste than women.
Elevate your taste controls, brother.
yeah, this stuff I played, like I got my wife and kids and people I hang out with, like kids sports, like you throw this on and they will not like it. But
No,
I don't
think so.
I don't
See, I'd love to go
blame
hit
them,
someone
but I
to
don't
this.
expect them to either. So
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
like, this
roll
is
up on
perfect.
a bum at a bus stop and deck him kind of music. I mean, this kind of reminded me of like River Black and that aggressive, like, hey, you could pick a fight with a random stranger to this shit kind of way. By the way,
Yeah,
check out River
that's-
Black if you haven't. That's delicious shit right there. Dave Eddy on drums, man.
River Black.
That's why maybe it could be like they also kind of sound like they have a Boston sound to them. Just like, yeah, we hurt people.
It's like fighting music. Yeah. I could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Coming home from watching the Phillies lose their fifth consecutive game, this is your soundtrack.
Yeah,
Whoop somebody's ass
that's
on the way
another good
home.
example. Exactly. Philly's a great example. Another great place for them to be from.
Yeah.
Or Chicago. Chicago's got a good noise, kind of aggressive noise scene at times.
Yeah.
Also, there's a little bit of flavor of Ken mode in there too. I don't know why, but I was just I was hearing lots of little pockets of it while I was giving the album that first listen. I'm definitely going to be listening to it again after the podcast.
For sure.
All right. Short song, short episode. Let's go around and we'll talk about whatever we've been up to. You can plug whatever you'd like. Daniel, you can kick it off for us. Tell us what you're up to.
I'm in the band Heavy Cat, and we're booking right now. We should have a show at the Redwood Tavern, downtown LA, soon. I'm booking some more shows and lots of fun stuff. I don't know. Our album's on Bandcamp. The return of heavycat.bandcamp.com. We're an upbeat, fuzzy punk band. So yeah. Check us out. That would be rad. Thank you.
Right on. Cool. Bucky?
I don't really do shit. So I just listen to a lot of music and enjoy talking about it. But I'll be down at Ripple Fest next weekend. It's coming up. So Saturday, Sunday only. Yeah, I'll only be there Saturday, Sunday, but that's coming up quick, so it'll be fun.
When this comes out, we will have already had a wonderful time at Ripple Fest. But
yeah, we'll get some barbecue.
Maybe I saw you at Ripple Fest.
Blake, what are you up to? Actually, you're up to a lot. What do you want to tell us?
I'm up to too much. By the time this comes out, Ryan and I will be nursing severe hangovers from Ripple Fest. But in addition to that, still have copies of Eastern Scrolls to be ordered. We should be getting that vinyl in pretty soon. Apologies for the delay on that. As well, I have a single out, Prometheus, and there should be possibly I don't remember whether by the time this comes out, whether I'll have another single out, but it'll be coming soon. And then October 13th, my second album, The Falling, comes out. So head to my Bandcamp and pre-order a copy if you enjoy what you're hearing so far. Thank you.
Very exciting. Ben?
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about the super new cool stuff I got going on, but rest assured you're going to want to keep your ear to the ground about some stuff involving my band Lost Dutchman. We're being featured on something. That's about all I can say. Right. I play in a country band called Southern Gate. If you're in the Phoenix area, we're playing. I guess as of this time this airs, never mind. We've already played the show. Other than that, I got nothing else going on.
It was a great show. Nice work.
Well done.
Exactly. Thank you. Pat on the back. Good bass playing.
Eddy?
The Aiwass just wrapped up our first album, and probably expecting a single release around November and the album release around February, if everything was planned. And Opium Church is still working on the new album, and I'm working with Blake on the third album for Aiwass right now.
Right on. Aawks?
Same thing. We got a couple of shows tomorrow and the next day, but they'll be done by the time this comes out. So I've got Novadol release party September 29th. October 6th, I'm playing a show with a bunch of great bands in Toronto. Actually, we are, both of us. And we have an EP coming out this fall. And we've got the Eastern Scrolls with Blake. As Blake said, vinyl is going to be in any time, and a bunch of other shit on the horizon. Our second album is getting close to being finished, being written. So we'll look at going to the studio soon.
Right on.
Love the close-up of the soul patch.
Yeah, that was nice. All right, guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Later.
See you guys.
Cool.